Hello everybody, this is Maniac for Bricks, and I am here today with set number 31021, Furry Creatures. This is a LEGO Creator set, so expect it to be a little bit of a longer video than your average review. This was released in 2014, has 285 pieces, ages 7 to 12, and retails for $20. It's a great looking set, and for $20 you actually get a lot of pieces in this. I was actually surprised when I opened up the box and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. This is a 3-in-1 build, and we will go through each of the builds in this set. We're probably going to take a little longer just because of that 3-in-1 process. So, let's take a closer look at the set now. So here we have the box art for the set. It looks pretty good to show a little background of the main model with the cat and mouse. Just to show this little mouse hole and show it's in a house setting. They don't really have that too much to show for the other two models because they're kind of squeezed down here to show what else you can build. But I actually find it interesting. I haven't seen this before with creator sets that they say here, we built into a puppy or a rabbit. And I didn't know if they always said that, but I haven't really noticed it up to this point. So I find that interesting to actually write it in, maybe to help you understand what these two models are supposed to be. It is a 3-in-1, which, like I said, it will be a longer review. I like how they have a small comic strip-like, set of images on the top of the box to show, little expressions that the cat can have and the interaction with the cat and mouse. Kind of a fun idea. And it also shows you on the back of the box, all three models, what they look like in better detail, but it doesn't really show you how they look compared to one another. If possible, I might record it in the review of what their approximate heights are. I usually don't do that for reviews, but I think it might be helpful for those of you who want to have a rough idea of how big these things are. If I can find my Lego ruler, I can do that. And inside of the box, we get 4 little bags. Well, not all of them are little, actually. This one's the largest of the bags. Then we have a very little one. Probably the smallest one, actually, with a lot of pieces packed in there. And this one's a medium bag. You could check my building video for the distribution of the pieces if I haven't put it in this video already. And we also have 2 instruction booklets for this set. One instruction booklet is entirely for the cat and mouse, the main model, and another instruction booklet contains both the dog and the bunny, or rabbit. I don't know if there's a difference. And they differentiate each of those because they say in here when the pages for each instruction book starts. In the back, they don't really have too much differentiation between the instructions, but they show you different creator sets from 2014. This one shows you the quad bike and the mountain hut. Also shows you a section for the Lego Club and the Wind Kid on the back. For the cat and mouse, they only just show you the piece count of the entire set. And they show you just one set. So here we have the first model of the set. This is the bunny. I believe it's the smallest of the ones that are offered to build, but I'm not entirely sure of the piece count of this one or the number of steps compared to the others, although it seems relatively the smallest to build. I have my Lego ruler with me, and measuring it, it's approximately between 5 to 6 inches tall, although you could probably make it a little bit taller just by stretching up the ears like so. At its height, it's a little over 6 inches tall. So that's pretty neat, and it's actually a good size for playability and, moving around and having it as a nice decoration even. Let's take a closer look at it. We'll spin it around to let you see it from all different sides. You can see he's got quite the large head, a small body, and a pretty blocky tail. The blocky tail is not really my favorite part of this model because it just doesn't feel as realistic as some other parts. I would have imagined they could have used something else here instead, but I guess with the pieces available, that's what they decided to do. Now this rabbit or bunny, let me know in the comments if there's a difference, because I'm not sure. This rabbit has a couple different features to it. We've already seen that the ears can move up and down, so you can have them in different poses, but sometimes it'll, topple over itself just because the ears are a little bit off to the sides. You could also move them back and forth like so. So you can have a little bit of fun with posing just the ears alone. The feet are designed on ball joints, so you can have them moving around in all different directions, but it doesn't necessarily mean it'll stand up in all those ways. It's mainly designed, as it's shown on the box, to have them down like this, so that it's somewhat in a sitting position, but also just has its feet kind of spread out. You can also move the upper feet, or, well, it almost looks like hands in this case, back and forth. You can have them really close together or really far apart. The whiskers are a nice design, but it's not necessarily a play feature. I just like how the face is designed on this model. Really well done, and while I was building it, I didn't actually know where the teeth were going to be, so I was actually surprised to find that they were here instead of somewhere else. I like how the nose and the cheeks are made, and the whiskers really top it off to make it look like a bunny. You could also move these 2x2 round pieces so you can make little funny poses with him and, change his expression, if he's looking that way or this way. He also has a ratcheted joint on the back for his head and neck area to move up and down. So you could have him in surprise, or you could just have him looking around. I mean, it could all depend on where you put the eyes to really capture the emotion. That's probably one of the silliest ones I've made. So, this is a nice little model to build, a good start to the set. And now we'll go on to building one of the other models. And also, I thought it was worth noting, before I go on to the next build, the heavy amount of pieces that are left over. And I've put them all in this storage container for right now, but these are a lot of pieces you could have left over from building the bunny. So I would imagine that's why I think it's the smallest of the three builds. But there's a lot of pieces you could do stuff with. There's even extra eyeballs, so you can make another smaller creature or something like that. You even have some of the really nice pieces in this set are some of the magenta / almost pinkish purple ones. Magenta might be a good word for it. We got a couple of these in different colors. Different elements. You also get some of the yellowish orange pieces. The one over there. You also have some extra ball joints. So like I said, there's enough room in here. You could still build something else if you want to keep the rabbit intact, but also make something else pretty cool. Now let's go on to our next model. So next up we have the puppy. As you can see, I've already posed him to be a very expressive creature. And I really like this one a lot because of that. He's got a lot of movement and a lot of expression for him. We'll just take a quick look around to see what it looks like. I'll talk more about it in just a little bit. But this will give you a good idea of what he looks like all the way around. Okay, so as far as his measurements, I'm just going to prop him up a little bit so we can get some right height for him. There we go. If we're counting the head, putting it in a normal position, sorry about that. At a normal position, this stands about 3 inches tall. A little less than that, but roughly 3 inches tall. So it's actually a little bit smaller than the bunny that we had before, but it is a little bit wider and a little bit more in depth. It's nice to fit in your hand. It feels really good there. And obviously being a puppy, it's not supposed to be, too big. But for what pieces we have in this set, it really is well done. I like a lot of the shape that's put into it all around. But I believe in some parts it may be lacking. The first thing I'd like to note is where it might be lacking is right here. In the torso area, I know it's not in proportion to the head. It's kind of made in a, most of these are kind of made in an ill-proportioned way, where it's not supposed to be exactly to scale with one another as far as legs, tail, head, and body. But I noticed, I like they made this round shape along here. Even if you look at it this way, it's got a nice round shape for the, for the abdomen and chest area. But it seems to slack off a little bit in this part. It just seems a little bit too narrow, too quick when it comes to the back portion where the legs are. And maybe these are a little too exposed. I would have liked it if they had a little bit more depth to them just to finish it off and not make it look too skinny and narrow too quick. The tail is good. It's on a ratchet hinge, so you can position it in different directions, and it's got a lot of range of motion, but it's a little bit flat. And I'm okay with that a little bit, since, after all, I mentioned before, this is a small animal, and probably wouldn't have too big of a tail in coordination with the rest of the body. Now, as we saw before, his ears can go up and down, also have a good range of motion, and only just one set of hinges, not two like our rabbit before. So you can have a lot of fun with expressing him. The eyes, once again, are on jumper pieces, just like before, if I haven't mentioned that. So you can have them going in all different directions and making funny poses. But for this time, we have eyebrows. These little handlebar pieces are traditionally used for minifigures, but have now moved into the era of, well, just a different use. They are now used for eyebrows. So you can make a bunch of different poses with him and different expressions on his face just with the eyebrows alone. I noticed that it's also similar with the Mixels, and just by looking at the box, it also happens with the cat. So we'll see that later on in this set. We also have the mouth that can move up and down, so you can have him in a barking motion, or just, a little bit of a quieter dog. Oh, it looks a little sad. Let's lift those eyebrows, because I like the eyebrows idea. It's a good thought for those pieces, but I feel like in most positions, just having them there, it doesn't really give him like a happy expression. I mean, I think a lot of it also has to do with the rest of his face. Just trying to make the mouth open and the ears out and make him in a running motion. But sometimes when I was looking at this before starting the video, it looked kind of angry just having the eyebrows in that position. But I'm probably fine with it. You may notice throughout this model, there's actually a few black and white pieces that are off on different sides. Especially there. There's also the ones alongside the head. There's ones right on the forehead. And even the front legs are different. Those are able to pose, as I probably showed you. We have ball joints for those, and these are on clip hinges. So a lot of range of motion for the feet. I like that a lot. But you can see this is the only paw of the 4 that is in black. And I actually got confused with that one. Building it, I almost built it in white. So I thought that was kind of interesting how they had that black and white differentiation. And what I like about it is they actually tried to split it between them. Because I thought, at first when I was building it, I was afraid of it being too white and too black on those sides. You can even see a little bit back there. But they actually did split it up a bit, and they did a really good job with it. The dog's head could also move on a ratcheted joint. So you can twist it in all different directions, even ones that probably wouldn't anatomically work. And I really like this. I really like this puppy. He's got a lot of character to him, a lot of expression, and a lot of motion. Very easy to make tons of poses with him, and, even for like animation purposes or photography purposes, will be a very fun thing to play with. I think I messed his eyes up. He looks a little silly. But then again, don't they all? Here's a look at all the pieces that were left over from the puppy. There are actually a few less yellow ones because they were used throughout the model, mostly in the head section. And I actually liked how they covered that up, because on the back you could see it a little bit next to the white and black sides, but hardly, because it's, covered from almost all the sides. Very well done there. There are also a few purple pieces, or magenta pieces that were used, but you can see it's kind of relative amount of pieces to the bunny, but I feel like this one took a little bit more time and a little bit more pieces to assemble. Now we'll go on to the last model, the main model. So here we have the final build of the set, and this is the largest of all the builds. It takes the entire one instruction book. It's over 50 pages, I think it's 60 pages exactly, to build the cat and the mouse. And it's actually pretty cool building experience. It is a lot similar to the puppy, which we last looked at. And let's start with the mouse itself and the piece of cheese. Piece of cheese is pretty simple. Got yellowish orange pieces for the top and bottom. Got a few holes in it, so I guess it's a Swiss cheese. And it's got a nice curve to it, so if you had a bunch of these other pieces, you could probably put them together into a little cheese wheel or something. And as for the mouse itself, he's pretty basic. Doesn't have a lot of movement. He can move his arms up and down, maybe as if he's grabbing the cheese. But the back legs, the hind legs, are kind of stuck in position. Kind of looks nice. A little weird that it has a little bit of stripes of white. I would have preferred it to just be gray, but considering the parts in the set, it works out okay. Also, you know, the black tail can move just kind of loosely. The ears can also move a little bit in either direction. You can have them really alert. A nice looking face. I think the face is one of the better parts of it, in my opinion. So now I'll take a look at the cat, and I'm sorry about my throat. I'm just not feeling well. I'm trying to do this. So anyways, we got a lot of movements with the cat. You can see already I can move the eyes, or the eyebrows, on these little handlebar pieces, so you can move the direction, maybe have him angry, or give him a surprised look. There's a little bit of expression just with that, but you could also combine that with moving the eyes themselves. They're the same ones from the Mixels we mentioned before. I don't know why this whisker's falling off. You can also move the ears back and forth on hinges. The mouth can move up and down, so you can have him in a chomping action. He's got a nice little pink nose. Now from the back, it looks kind of okay, but, you know, it looks a lot better from the front than it does from the back. For the main body and the legs, like I said, they are much like the puppy in terms of building experience. The legs are exactly the same from the puppy, except that all of them are the same. Not one of them is in a different color. And each of them, obviously, ball joint movement and hinges for making the feet move. You can also move the cat's head in different directions, like that. And the tail in the back, simple hinges for easy play, easy to move around. So, pretty cool model, and I think overall this set is really nice. I think it was, you know, wasn't something I was first thinking about getting, but really has a lot of cool things about each of these figures, and a lot of articulation with them that makes it enjoyable and, you know, fun to pose and play around with. Maybe you could have a cat and mouse kind of chase for the cheese. But, you know, as far as building, it seems okay. I know that, you know, you're only limited by the parts you have in the creator sets in terms of colors and things, but they did a good job with what they could, you know, rearrange for parts. I would have preferred a few differences of colors and structure, but it still holds together well and does a lot of what it needs to do. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time with more LEGO set reviews.